Name two inventions that you feel altered radio.
Two things. My name's Larry Saraka. That altered radio was a gentleman named Mr. Newton in Jamestown, New York, who lived on Main Street. In 1924, 85 years ago, which WJTN started, he built a transmitter. And I'm going to sort of tip this up. I don't know if I can tip it up because it weighs so much, but it had old-fashioned tubes in it. He built a transmitter. This happens to be a radio from 1927. It probably weighs 100 pounds. But Mr. Newton started this at his house on Main Street, and he built a transmitter, probably out of this, which the federal government gave us the right to start a commercial radio station. Mr. Newton did not have electricity in front of his house, so number one was electricity. Number two was this a transmitter that he fired up and stole electricity from the trolley car in front of his house on Main Street in Jamestown, New York. Some of the other things that changed radio industry were radios itself. These were called tomb-style radios, which were made in 1931, 1929. So if you know anybody who's like 80, 85 years old, chances are when they were born they didn't have a radio. Thank you, Mr. Newton, for starting WJTN Radio, which was originally WOCL on Chautauqua Lake, and now is WJTN with radio, which stands for Jamestown Radio. And these had old tubes in it, again this weighs a ton, who invented radios. So radios changed the industry. Mr. Newton changed the industry for WJTN being one of the top 10 radio stations, started in 1924. And like I said before, if you know anybody 85, they didn't have one of these. They didn't get them to the 30s that look like this here or this here. And then also, radios emerged. I'm going a little further for you. They emerged into tabletop type radios. They even, in the 60s, if you know anybody really old, like 35, 40 years old, you might know somebody like that, they didn't have FM radios until the late 70s. And when I started at the radio station in the 70s, because it was simulcast WJTN and SC93, but there were no FM radios. And then they came out with things that had FM radios in them so that people could listen to them. And my last thing that also changed radio was things were recorded on wire recorders and little cassette tapes and things, and also changed the world were these things called records. And those are not giant CDs, they're records, because a lot of young people think these are big CDs. But anyways, WJTN Radio started in 1924. Thank you for Mr. Newton changing the world for Jamestown, New York. And thank you for the inventions of the radio and Mr. Newton. And I also have in here a council radio. If you people watch the television show, I'll Shoot Your Eye Out with the BB gun at Christmas time, they listened to council radios like this in 1938. So these were the Walkmans. In fact, these were the speakers of that generation from the 20s and 30s. So just think what's happened in the last 10 years. And if you need me, thank you. Be glad to answer any questions.
Finally, radio hit its biggest impact with the invention of the internet. Today, by using the internet, radio stations can stream their music and talk shows to the world. Somebody in Europe can hear a radio broadcasted show by going online. Somewhere from California to Guam, almost anywhere, actually anywhere, you can hear radio broadcasts in different countries. But, I mean, you may think that that's a good thing, but it also destroyed radio. It allowed DJs to pre-record their shows so that they didn't have to be in the studio during their designated hours. Basically what this did to radio was listeners would call in and request songs, and the DJs just aren't there. So it kind of discouraged listeners to listen to the radio because they knew that when they requested a song, it would never get played, which was unfortunate. But the advantages of pre-recording actually saved money for owners. They wouldn't have to pay someone to be in a studio per hour, and that's also how it's done at Media One Group. All of the programs that you hear on the radio are pre-recorded, including Delilah. There's a lot of people that still call up thinking that Delilah's actually up here, but she's not. She's somewhere in like Chicago, syndicated to us. And she's also recorded. She probably recorded her show in like 3 or 5 in the afternoon, and now it plays from 7 till midnight. And that radio is still a big impact to society, as it basically was the first newspaper in which it was being read to you.